All right, well, our friends are here.
No.
Hi. Hi.
National Lawyers Day. We're legal. Yeah, we're legal observers.
Here's what we would like to ask.
But we don't represent.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
You arrest them.
Right.
We have the attorney that represents.
Okay, can I ask you guys for maybe you and ask you where we can come cooperation?
That's not us.
Yeah, we can't do that.
We just observe what happens.
Yeah, we're observing, making sure everything's on the up and up and all that. Yeah.
Would you like to drink?
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Would you like some rain? Can I explain something to you? Yeah. The city hall facilities policy and the public policy basically is you can't distribute food on city property. And so it's a violation of city rules. So we don't want to stop your feeding. We just want to ask you to move to the public sidewalk and just move it out to here onto the public sidewalk so that we can all be in compliance and so we can move out here. Huh? Sure, if you want us to, we'll help you move it. Absolutely.
This is wrong. What you're doing is wrong. It's inhumane.
So you basically say if we moved a foot and a half over,
We have no intention
if
of
we
stopping
moved
you.
a foot and a half over, we could feed the hungry. For a foot and a half. For a foot and a half.
Just right over to the sidewalk.
For a foot and a half, we could feed the hungry.
Difference doesn't make.
Ask yourself, does that make any sense?
That doesn't make
Ask yourself, does
sense.
that make any sense?
Well, we're basically trying to all comply with.
Well, when the police start complying with the law,
For the police to make a law that you can't
Yes,
feed
you
people.
can.
well, you guys break the law all the time.
This is
So.
inhumane.
There's hungry people, ma'am. There's hungry people, ma'am. There's hungry people, ma'am.
Would you like to read about the story?
But they're basically saying for a foot and a half, you can feed the homeless. How crazy is that? How insane is that? They say we're breaking laws. How many laws do they break on a daily basis? How many human rights violations do they commit daily?
Would you like some rice?
What human rights are we violating right now? Feeding people. They're beating people. That's legal.
They're killing people.
They could kill people, beat people, that's legal. That's within the law. That's within their law.
They don't like to give nothing to the needy. They just like to give it to the greedy.
Exactly. Come on through.
They
Get
don't
fed.
like to give nothing to the needy. They just want to give it to the greedy. Rich and greedy people. And when they die, they can't take nothing with them. Not a dime. Not a penny.
You already got your laws to kill people. Let us at least feed people.
Where'd they go?
They disappeared. Yeah, they're conferring
Call your grandma.
to find out what they're gonna do now.
With your grandma.
And with the amount of people here, I don't see them doing much. But you never
I
know.
don't think they really want the people to know that this is. Most people, 90% of people know you can't. What do you mean? Our church can't go out there? Nope.
Nope.
Don't plan
No,
no
it's-
holiday dinners for the homeless. You can't do it. Most
Yeah.
people don't know what the fuck they're doing. And how ridiculous is that?
This is some kind of a sauce, like a enchilada sauce.
They could feed the people if they do it.
Might go back with the,
How we doing on bro? Well, this is spaghetti right here. What's that?
Hold on, folks. Please stop the line.
This is your taxpayer dollars in action. This is what they're doing in Sacramento.
Hey guys,
Instead of being in your neighborhood and protecting your neighborhood, they're preventing people from feeding the homeless and hungry. What is wrong with that?
you know you're doing wrong.
And according to the use of City Hall facilities, this is the legal demonstration spot for this facility.
And truthfully, God will curse your family if you prevent feeding the homeless. God will curse your family.
That's the last thing I want. What would Jesus do? 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 What would Jesus do?
Watch out. They're going to try and move the tables right now, so be careful. I'm pretty sure they're just moving the tables over. They should be letting us continue, so.
Homelessness is not a crime from Sacramento to Palestine. Here, give us some pictures. You guys. Are you guys serious?
Is there anyone that didn't eat? They got the line going over here again. If there's nobody that got to eat, they're going to start the line up again right on the other side over here.
They have forced us to crowd the sidewalk, which is now not got any place for people to walk by. So now,
More down here. We got the roasted vegetables.
We can always do
Show of force.
I'm here.
Remove their tables.
Well, you know, it was like their show first earlier. We got here at 2. We were sitting over here in the park smoking a cigarette, and 6 horse cops walk up to tell us we can't smoke in the park. 6 cops? For a cigarette?
No.
Oh no, that was.
downtown. You have our dispensaries downtown. I already know, bro. I already know you can't. Oh, okay.
Just on the other end.
You can bet there's somebody with a fucking video camera in one of these windows.
Oh, yeah.
Or some shit.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Would you like some spaghetti?
Okay, so I guess what happened was the police had to move the tables a foot because we were on city property. So they moved the tables a foot so we'd be on the public sidewalk, but now we're completely just blocking traffic. It's sidewalk traffic, so we'll see if they try and bust us for that. Yeah, all right.